Shenmue 3, with the dream over and Shenmue 1 and 2 not selling enough to make the series viable, it pretty much sealed the fate I was ever seeing Shenmue 3. But as you know, Sega has made unusual decisions in the past, and for a time, Sega's fans meant everything to them, so it was not far-fetched to think that Sega might revisit the series one day and make Shenmue 3. Plus most of the work had already been done for the Shenmue series, so Shenmue 3 would not cost that much more to make. The $30 million budget had already been spent on the unreleased Saturn version of Shenmue, Shenmue 1 and 2 for the Dreamcast, so along with them games, the story, research planning and hundreds of uncompressed textures, everything was all ready for future installments of the Shenmue series. It has been twice confirmed that Shenmue 3 was in development and twice cancelled as well, but years following its cancellation there have been news, rumours and slip up by people in Sega from interviews, and I will present the highlight of these to show you an idea just how much Sega thinks about Shenmue and how many people badly want a third game. At one point it was confirmed that the series was already finished, close to near finish, and that the Shenmue series was meant to be released as one complete game on next generation system pending an exclusive deal with one of the three hardware manufacturers. Keizo was responsible for information and Sega denied it and left Keizo looking like it just made this up or had unreliable or unconfirmed sources. From this point onward, most information regarding Shenmue 3 came from interviews where members of Sega let something slip about Shenmue 3 or from Yuzuki himself. There was a leaked image of a beta disc of Shenmue 3 for the Dreamcast that was burnt in Sega and used for testing. It was meant to be an early build of Shenmue 3, but it's been years since we last heard something about it and most likely it was a fake. But you have to remember this series was in development for some time, and originally Shenmue 1 and 2 was a Sega Saturn game, which meant that Shenmue 1 and 2 were in fact Dreamcast ports. Shenmue was meant to be an ongoing series and one of the biggest draws for the Dreamcast. Sega would have cranked out game after game for several years, so when the plug was pulled on this series, I suspect Sega were a lot further ahead than we've been led to believe. This alone puts a little doubt if that disc is a fake, and the last I heard they were still trying to negotiate a sale. And who knows, it might be real, it might get leaked onto the internet one day. Hey, it happened with Pella Arena, anything is possible. When Shenmue came out, I think Shenmue 2 was pretty much finished by that point and it only needed to be polished. Now this is a bit of a leap and just my theory, I have no real evidence to back this up, but I think Shenmue 2 was meant to end just before Ryo's trip to Guilin. The reason I think this is because when Shenmue 2 ends, it just keeps going on, and even back then when I first played this game, I found it odd. What I think they did was tag some of the beginning of Shenmue 3 to the end of Shenmue 2. Also, there are pictures of Ryu in Ballet Village, which would have been Ryu's next destination after Shenmue 2. It was confirmed to be content that was cut from Shenmue 2, but I don't believe this because this would have been an important place in the Shenmue saga and possible next destination after that cave. So if I'm right, that meant we've all played a very small bit of Shenmue 3 already. Now for the most important question, where in his backpack is Ryu going to put that sword? Shenmue 3 concept exists! Yuzuki has said in an interview that the concept of Shenmue 3 does exist. In Shenmue 3, instead of the world going outwards, it would go inwards, a lot more emphasis on talking and the conversations you have will affect the game's story. Now this is all we know and I have no idea how this new game mechanic would fit into Shenmue series, but I imagine it'd be like the conversation trees in the Mass Effect games. But it does make sense if you think about it. Up to the end of Shenmue 2 of the series, what's been the biggest thing about Shenmue? The world itself. It's huge and epic. And Shenmue 3 would have explored many new places in China, but for a game series to grow and to keep its audience interested, it has to keep trying new things. Plus, so many games now put a lot of emphasis on conversations and giving you choices and seeing how your choices affect the story. So for Yuzuki to even talk about his concept, they must have been further along on Shenmue 3 than we've been led to believe. In 2011, the biggest news was when Yuzuki said in an interview, "I think Sega will let me make Shenmue 3, it's just a matter of budget and making it in an affordable way." Was that what Shenmue fans were waiting to hear, or just a legend of gaming shooting his mouth off? Yu Suzuki isn't known for BSing, so I imagine there is some truth to this. It's quite possible Sega and Yu Suzuki have been waiting for the point where it becomes cheap enough to make more Shenmue games. And is this statement by Yu Suzuki a reflection of that? No one knows. Sega knows there's a cult following for this game, and when it comes to fan feedback for previous Sega series to be resurrected, Shenmue has always been the one series fans would like a new instalment of. So that's the highlights of the rumours for Shenmue 3, but if you want to read more, just Google Shenmue 3. There are loads of rumours that have been posted onto the internet over the years, and I'm only presenting a few of them, along with my own theories to possibly back them up. I could have made an episode just talking about Shenmue 3. Some time passed and we kept hoping for news of a possible third Shenmue game, and in 2004 we in fact did get some news, and it wasn't what we expected. Now, we all wanted a third Shenmue game, and the last thing we expected was Shenmue Online. But in a way it does make sense, because Shenmue Online wouldn't have to rely entirely on game sales, but instead on subscription fees. And in China, MMORPGs are huge, so it seemed like a good direction for the Shenmue series from a business point of view. I imagine a lot of fans will have the same opinion as me. This isn't what we wanted, but if by supporting this project we got closer to a possible Shenmue 3, then we were behind this. This project was a joint venture between Sega and JC Entertainment of Korea. Shenmue Online would play a lot like Shenmue, and things like fighting, QTEs, playing arcade games were all going to be here. But you wouldn't be able to play as Ryu, so instead you create your own character and join one of 3 clans. Your character has 3 styles to choose from, either martial arts, magic or weapon based. The game world will be at least 3 times the size of that of Shenmue 2. So after hearing all this we started to get excited, but unfortunately this wasn't meant to be. The project had numerous setbacks, the graphics were criticised, and in 2006 an updated version of Shenmue Online was shown with a major graphical overhaul. But shortly after that, news just stopped coming in about Shenmue Online, and this game is as good as cancelled. So far there's been no official word by Sega on the future of Shenmue Online. Yuzuki has said that this project is in a pending state and hopes to one day resurrect it. So after the cancellation of Shenmue 3, Shenmue Online and various other unconfirmed projects, where has Yuzuki been? Was he given the same treatment as Gunpei Yokoi, a room with a window? What I mean by this is, in the Japanese corporate world, they tend to have a business way of the samurai attitude, and I guess failure is something they don't take kindly to. But in Gunpei Yokoi's case, he was responsible for the Virtual Boy, even though it was never meant to be released, and when Nintendo decided to release it, he said they needed more time, and with the failure of that system, he was blamed for it, and instead of being let go, they just gave him a room with a view. And what that means is you're no longer in a position to make decisions that affect a company. So did the same thing happen to Yuzuki? I don't think so. You have to remember he made a string of very successful arcade games for Sega, and even though his one and only console series was a commercial failure, it did have an impact on gaming, and you can see his influences on so many game series. The last we heard, he was a team manager for AM+, a new Sega in-house development unit, so in a sense he took a backseat role to game development and became part of the management team at Sega. And only a few months ago it was reported that Yuzuki was to leave Sega and form his own game studio, WiseNet, and still has an advisory role with Sega. After so many years of rumours, cancelled games and news, we finally get a new game, Shenmue Town. What's Shenmue Town about? Well, it's a free-to-play social game for PC and mobile phones. You start as a student at Suzuki Dojo, and later you get to run your own dojo. Like with previous Shenmue games, you can collect capture toys, get a job, and play classic Sega arcade games. It still has the usual Shenmue gameplay with QTEs, and now fighting with other online users. How Shenmue Town makes its money back is by selling new game extras. This business model has been proven popular with the new wave of online social gaming. Shenmue Town is being made by Yu Suzuki's new company WiseNet, managed by Sunsoft and overseen by Sega. My only concern is this the way forward for the series? When Yu Suzuki was making Shenmue, he had a vision and demanded perfection, and if he didn't get it, he would get angry. It does seem like he's downgrading his vision to get a new Shenmue game made. But maybe this is his only way to make a new Shenmue game, and possibly prove to Sega that if given a chance, Shenmue could be successful on a more modern system. But if this game ever gets a Western release, I will be behind this, and I imagine many other Shenmue fans will be too. So that concludes part 3 of the Shenmue Retrospective. In part 3 we went at the enigma that is Shenmue 3, the cancelled Shenmue Online, we talked about Yuzuki, and we ended things talking about Shenmue Town. Now I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's watched, thumbed up and commented. The reaction I've gotten so far it's totally surpassed my every expectation for the series, and it really means a lot to me. And in order to properly close this series in part 4 will be very special. I've got a few YouTubers lined up and they're all going to give testimonials talking about how they found out about Shenmue, their first impressions and what it means to them. So I want to thank you for watching part 3 and stay tuned for the finale, part 4.